Hello and a very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Let's begin with this morning's headlines. 3 more deaths due to dengue in the national capital, taking the death toll to 14 this season. Hospitals hard-pressed with massive rush of patients. Nepal's Constituent Assembly overwhelmingly approves new constitution after years of delay due to disagreements among major political parties. Sri Lanka promises dialogue with all stakeholders after a damning report on war crimes by its forces. Violent clashes between migrants and police at the Hungary-Serbia border. Hungarian police used tear gas on migrants as they tried to enter the country. And a massive 8.3 magnitude earthquake strikes off the coast of Chile. Mass evacuations underway as tsunami warning issued for Peru, Chile, New Zealand and Hawaii. Well, let's begin with our top focus this morning. A powerful 8.3 magnitude earthquake hit off the coast of Chile late on Wednesday night, triggering a tsunami alert. The massive quake left buildings shaking for several seconds in the capital city of Santiago. The Chilean government has urged residents to evacuate the coastline immediately. The country's National Emergency Agency has ordered evacuations in coastal areas from Africa to Porto Aysin. The earthquake was felt as far away as the Argentine capital of Buenos Aires. According to a preliminary assessment from the US Geological Survey, the quake's epicenter was about 54 kilometers west of Illapel and had a depth of 33 kilometers. A series of aftershocks could be felt in the country's capital, about 230 kilometers away from the quake's epicenter. According to CNN reports, 1 woman has been killed and at least 7 injured. Official figure is yet to be known. Well, joining me on the phone line right now is Naveen Kumar Bhatnagar, former DIG NDEF. He's a disaster management expert and he's also an expert on rescue operations. A very good morning to you, Mr. Bhatnagar. This is, of course, very scary scenes that we are seeing from South America, where buildings were seen shaking for several seconds. People running out of shopping malls and shopping complexes. At the moment, of course, confirmation has come through that 1 person has been killed, but that death toll could rise in the near future. But what is it that one needs to be really careful of now?
Yeah. So, in this matter, I can say that there are a lot of volcanic activities are going on in that particular area. So, for that, we are facing this problem of earthquake and tsunami.
Indeed,
whenever
8.3 is magnitude. 8.3 magnitude is massive on the Richter scale, isn't it?
No doubt. It's a maximum, and what we can do, we can have only preventive measures. We should save the life. We should give some preventive medical aid, and the rescue operation should make quickly. And we should save the life. It should be our prime motto.
And what are the chances of a tsunami occurring after a massive magnitude earthquake like this?
Same thing as you might be knowing in Japan, it happened. That earthquake and tsunami, both the things were there. And nuclear attack also was there. So definitely the massive loss will be there. And danger is there. So we should have this preventive measure only, and we should save the life.
And is it also, safe to say that at the moment, of course, it looks like it's calm, but then in the near future, there could be some kind of aftershocks, and that too can be equally devastating?
Yeah, naturally, when seismic activities, volcanic activities are going on, so definitely so many actions will be there. So we should be ready for that purpose.
Indeed. We saw a similar kind of earthquake about a year ago in Nepal, in fact, where just a few months ago, in fact, in Nepal, where several people were killed, several thousand people were killed, and it was pretty much a similar kind of an earthquake. The only saving grace this time around was the epicenter was somewhere in the middle of the ocean and not on the land itself. So that could be a saving grace, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Because this thing, there is a small difference between Nepal and Chile. Chile is the main target, you can say. The volcanic activities is much closer than...
Moving on now, the migrant crisis in Europe is getting far from bad to worse. Now, a day after Hungary sealed its border with Serbia, violent clashes erupted between migrants and the police. The Hungarian police unleashed tear gas on the migrants as they tried to enter the country. Crossing over the fence, agitated migrants retaliated, leading to an intense standoff at the Hungary-Serbia border. Here's more.
An uneasy calm at the Hungary-Serbia border after a tense standoff between the Hungarian police and hundreds of desperate migrants waiting to surge into the country to travel towards Germany. The Hungarian riot police fired tear gas and water cannons to force the herd of migrants back from the border. The migrants retaliated to the use of force against them. Breaking police barriers, groups of migrants hurled stones and water bottles at the Hungarian police. Dozens were injured on both sides in the violent clashes. Several of the injured migrants received treatment from the Serbian ambulance service. Amid chaos, the Hungarian police arrested dozens of migrants. The incident triggered widespread outrage, with the United Nations expressing serious concern over the manner in which migrants were being treated.
They must be treated with human dignity and human rights. That's my consistent message to European and Asian leaders wherever this migration and refugees are coming.
I'm extremely distressed because, to see people who've been injured, to see children crying because they're separated from their parents, people who have been separated from their families, who have been hurt. So it's extremely distressing to us, especially because we think that the degree of violence could have been avoided. We think it's really important to dialogue.
Serbia too condemned the use of force against the homeless migrants, saying such tactics were not acceptable.
Ovo je nešto što je prosto moralo da se desi. Kada imate tako veliki broj ljudi na tako malom prostoru i kada ti ljudi nisu u stanju čak ni da formulišu šta će biti sutra sa njima ili šta će se dešavati sa njihovim zahtevima, onda se ovakve stvari jednostavno dešavaju.
The standoff at the Hungary-Serbia border began on Wednesday, following the Hungarian government's decision to seal the border with a newly built razor wire fence. Amid global outrage, Croatia has now opened up a new route for migrants, allowing them to travel on to northern Europe. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
Shifting focus to another top story now. Of course, the rising scare of dengue in Delhi. 3 more people have died due to the disease, taking the toll to 14. Hospitals are facing a severe crunch of facilities as the rush of patients continues.
Dengue has claimed 3 more lives in the national capital, taking the total death toll to 14 this season. There is a huge rush of patients to hospitals that are finding it difficult to cope. The Delhi government has, however, warned of strict action against those turning away patients. Hospitals have been directed to increase bed strength by 10 to 20% by September 20th. Almost all government-run hospitals are under increasing pressure as 3 to 4 patients are being cramped in one bed, in some of them due to unavailability of beds.
दिल्ली सरकार ने निश्चय किया है कि बेड कैपेसिटी को बढ़ाने के लिए प्राइवेट सेक्टर को आज ऑर्डर दिए गए हैं कि अपनी कैपेसिटी को 10% से 20% तक बढ़ाएं, जो भी उनकी सैंक्शन स्ट्रेंथ है, और जो ये बेड बढ़ाए जाएंगे इनको सिर्फ फीवर और डेंगू के लिए यूज किया जाए.
The Delhi government has said it is procuring dengue testing kits, and private hospitals have been asked not to charge more than 600 rupees for the test. The test is free in government facilities. The dengue scare is spreading to both Haryana and Punjab, with 2 deaths and over 1,400 cases altogether of the vector-borne disease being reported from the 2 states.
542 confirmed cases हरियाणा में हैं और 1 डेथ हुई है. जो एनसीआर है उसमें फैल रहा, काफ़ी देर तक उसी में रहा, लेकिन अब धीरे धीरे ये बड़ी तेज़ी से आगे बढ़ रहा है. हमने अपने स्वास्थ्य विभाग को हाई अलर्ट पर डाला है.
As per Delhi Municipal Corporation's data till 12th of September, at least 613 cases of dengue have been reported in the last 1 week, and a total of 1,872 patients have tested positive for the vector-borne disease. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
Moving on now, Principal Secretary of the Mines Department in the Rajasthan government, Ashok Singhvi, has been detained, and 5 others, including 2 officials of the state government, arrested in an alleged bribery case. The Anti-Corruption Bureau has claimed to have recovered 3.88 crore rupees of cash while unearthing the alleged bribery cases during raids in Udaipur and Bhilwara cities. 56-year-old Singhvi is a 1983 batch IAS officer who also holds the post of chairman of the Rajasthan State Mines and Minerals Limited, Udaipur. The case relates to bribes allegedly paid for reopening of mines owned by one Sher Khan, which had been closed down some time back.
इसमें मुख्य तौर पर संजय सेठी, रशीद खान, श्याम सिंह, पुष्कर राज अमेटा और जो उदयपुर में एडीएम हेडक्वार्टर हैं पंकज गहलोत, वो 5 व्यक्ति गिरफ्तार हुए हैं और रिश्वत की राशि जो है वो 3 करोड़ 80 लाख, कुछ 4 लाख और 385 के करीब जो रिश्वत की राशि हो जाती है.
Well, let's now get you the latest on poll-bound Bihar. Well, the BJP-led NDA seems to be having its own share of problems ahead of the Bihar Assembly polls. Rashtriya Lok Samta Party has now expressed unhappiness over the BJP announcing its first list of candidates. The party claims that many of the seats for which the BJP announced its candidates should ideally fall in its kitty. RLSP is a second alliance partner after LJP to show discontent over the seat-sharing agreement.
Upendra Kushwaha and his party RLSP are unhappy with the first list of candidates of the BJP for the Bihar polls. RLSP has staked a claim on some of these seats. The party says BJP should not have announced names of candidates without reaching a seat-wise agreement.
निश्चित तौर से जिस तरीके से चीजें घटित हो रही हैं नहीं घटना चाहिए, लेकिन परिस्थितियां भी कुछ ऐसी है जिसमें खींचतान हो रहा है. इसका अच्छा ये नहीं है और इसे रोका जाना चाहिए.
On Tuesday, the BJP had announced a list with 43 names, out of which 19 are for the first phase. Out of the 43 candidates, almost 60% belong to the scheduled tribes or backward castes. But the party dismisses its alliance partners' unhappiness as a routine matter.
ये सही है कि हम जीतने वाला गठबंधन है, इसलिए हर सीट पर दबाव बहुत है और हर पार्टी पर दबाव है कि वो सीट उनको लड़नी चाहिए, लेकिन जितना भी एडजस्ट हो सकता है भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने पूरी कोशिश की है.
The infighting within the NDA has provided ammunition to the opposing alliance. The Grand Alliance accuses the BJP of insulting its smaller alliance partners.
रालोजपा हो चाहे लोजपा हो चाहे हम हो, तो नेता लोग तो सब सरेंडर कर दिए हैं. तो कार्यकर्ताओं में और दूसरे नीचे के नेताओं में असंतोष है, वो आ रहा है. अभी बीजेपी में भी जो है तो ये मापदंड अलग-अलग लोग रख रहे हैं.
Besides RLSP, LJP has also made it clear that it is not happy with the seat sharing agreement. Even the Jitin Ram Manjhi-led HAM is still talking to the BJP on the issue. However, the chances of the alliance breaking up over this are remote. Shyam Sundar's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, our correspondent Pranav Goswami spoke with JDU State President Vashisht Narayan Singh in Patna. Singh said that there are no differences in the alliance or the seat-sharing issue, and he also welcomed Jharkhand Mukti Morcha's support to the Grand Alliance.
कि चुनाव को सुनियोजित प्रचार करने के तौर तरीकों पर बात हो रही थी कि केवल फेज वाइज सीटों के ऊपर ही बात नहीं करे, बल्कि सभी सीटों को तय कर ले, भले ही उसकी घोषणा जब जरूरत हो तब किया जाए. हेमंत सोरेन जी नीतीश जी से भी मिले थे और लालू यादव जी से. उन लोगों ने हम लोग के समर्थन में आने का है, यह तो निश्चित रूप से स्वागत योग्य है.
Well, joining me for a chat this morning to talk about everything that's happening in Bihar is our correspondent Vishal Dahiya. Vishal, we saw the NDA alliance a couple of days ago come out and smile to the media and announce that the seat-sharing deal has been worked out. They also distributed sweets and we saw smiles on their faces. But now we've heard a few disgruntled voices from within. First, it was the LJP. Now it is the RLSP, Upendra Kushwaha's party, who's not happy with the seat distribution.
Well, Frank, you're right. In fact, if you look at the ground position in specifically those areas which are supposed to go to polls in the first phase in Bihar, that's on 12th of October. Now, the nomination process has begun yesterday, but given the tussle which has been going on between the alliance partners in both the NDA camp and the other camp as well, the finalization of candidates for specific seats is something which is yet to happen. BJP, though, had released its list of 43 candidates, but then given the blow cold kind of situation which is going on with its alliance partners, RLSP, HAM and LJP, the areas where these alliance partners have to put up their candidates, that is being delayed now. That is clearly visible on the ground, wherein the candidates have not yet been finalized. The election campaign has not yet begun on the ground. We have been to Samastipur. We are right now in Begusarai. These are the districts which will go to poll on 12th of October. So because the candidates are yet to be finalized not only by the NDA alliance but also by the Mahagathbandhan, that's JDU, RJD and Congress combined. Now, they are also yet to finalize the list of candidates who are going to be, which these parties are going to put up on respective seats in these areas. So everybody out here, specifically the workers of these parties on the ground level, are waiting with bated breath as to who is going to get the party's symbol, who is going to get the party's ticket on specific seats. Once that is finalized, then only the campaigning process will begin, the nomination will happen, and it's not much time to go. If the polling is on 12th, which is scheduled in these areas, then the campaigning will have to come to on 10th, and today being 17th, almost 20 days, 21 days, that's 3 weeks of the campaign time which is left. Now, we are being told by our sources within the JDU, RJD, that today is the day when the final list of candidates of these parties from areas where polling will be held in the first phase will be decided by late today evening. The Congress, though, is going to take at least 1 or 2 more days to decide its candidates. On 19th, there is a mega rally which Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi is expected to address in Ramnagar. Once that happens, then the Congress's Central Election Committee will meet in New Delhi, and then the list of the candidates will be finalized. So at least the wait for Congress, those who are going to fight on Congress tickets in these areas which are going to poll on first phase will be a little longer, at least 2 more days. And LJP, RLSP and HAM, these 3 parties are also yet to announce that its final list of candidates for the polling in first phase. So,
Vishal,
obviously a lot of confusion out here as to on the ground level as to who is going to contest elections respectively from these parties. And in this race, I must say that one particular alliance which has taken a lead is the alliance of the left parties. Now, this is the area where I am right now in Begusarai, where some influence of the left front can be seen.
We'll have to leave that. We'll keep coming back to you, of course, during the course of the day and during the course of many days that you're going to be there in Bihar to get the latest from poll-bound Bihar. On that note, we'll slip into a short break now, but still to come. MEA says that the Saudi diplomat accused of raping 2 Nepalese women has left the country. That and much more still to come. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Kudumbashree is the only platform that provides empowerment to women by economic empowerment.
45 lakh women. Taken together, their income comes to around 3,000 crore, and no company can match to a turnover like this.
A stake in the governance of their own lives.
I don't think credits go to UDF government or Congress government. It goes to the women.
If there is an introduction of a new technology, you have a technology fund. They have a crisis management fund.
Kamai bhi milte hain, himmat mila hai.
Watch our special report, Women Power Unleashed, only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari will be leaving for Laos PDR after winding up his Cambodia tour. This is the first ever visit at the level of Vice President to Laos PDR. On Wednesday, the Vice President held wide-ranging talks with Cambodian Premier Hun Sen. The day also saw the signing of 2 key MOUs to boost tourism and enhance people-to-people contact. The Vice President's first visit to Cambodia is aimed at boosting bilateral partnership and enhancing economic engagement with ASEAN countries under India's Act East policy.
Day 2 of the Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari's visit to Cambodia focus on efforts to boost economic ties between the two nations. After receiving a grand welcome at the Peace Palace in Phnom Penh, Ansari held wide-ranging talks with Cambodian Premier Hun Sen. The two sides also signed 2 MOUs, one on tourism and other on quick impact projects. Under the latter, there are 4 projects, 2 in healthcare, 1 on women's empowerment through information and communication technology, and 1 on agriculture.
Why is the number of Indian tourists so modest as far as Cambodia is concerned? I share your concern. I think we need to work on this, and the first step has been taken a few minutes back when we signed a memorandum of understanding between our 2 countries relating to tourism. I think on the basis of this, we can expand the infrastructure, including other facilities, airlines and other things.
In his address at the office of the Council of Ministers, Vice President Ansari asserted that India's relationship with Cambodia was a key element in its Act East policy.
We in India value greatly our relations with Cambodia. We value it not only in bilateral terms, India-Cambodia terms, but also because this is part of a region which figures very prominently in our thinking, in our scheme of things.
India also thanked Cambodia for its support in multilateral fora, especially towards India's bid for a permanent UNSC seat. The Vice President, accompanied by his wife, will leave Cambodia for Laos on Thursday for the second leg of his visit.
As India embarks on its new phase of Act East policy, Vice President Hamid Ansari's visit to Cambodia is another leg forward towards economic integration of India into the ASEAN community. There's also a turning point in the Indo-Cambodia relationship. Nirban, this is Neelu Vyas signing off from Phnom Penh, Cambodia for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Nepal's Constituent Assembly has overwhelmingly approved a new constitution on Wednesday night after years of delay because of disagreements among major political parties. The new constitution was approved by 507 to 601 lawmakers in the assembly. Several members from smaller parties boycotted the vote. The process leading up to Wednesday's vote met with a wall of protests from people in Nepal's southern plains who object to the drawing of 7 provinces. Ethnic Madhesi and Tharu people and their political leaders say that their political voice will be diluted as a result of the way the provinces have been drawn. At least 40 people have died in southern and western areas of Nepal in protests related to the document since August 10th. Well, the Ministry of External Affairs has said that the Saudi Arabian diplomat charged with the confinement and rape of 2 Nepalese women has left the country. MEA spokesperson Vikas Swarup said, and I quote, "We have learnt that the First Secretary, Majid Hassan Ashur, who was allegedly accused of raping 2 Nepalese women, has left India. The First Secretary, being a diplomat, is governed by the provision of the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations," unquote. It is learnt that the MEA had put pressure on the Saudi embassy to allow the questioning of the diplomat given the gravity of the allegations in the case involving confinement and rape of the 2 women. The women, who were rescued from the diplomat's Gurgaon home last week on basis of a tip-off from an NGO, had alleged that they had been repeatedly gang-raped, tortured, starved and kept confined for over 3 months.
We have very friendly relations between government of Nepal, government of Saudi and government of India also. That's why diplomatically also, if there has been crime, the criminals should be punished and the victim must get justice.
In some more international news now, Sri Lanka has promised to take note of a damning UN report on war crimes and ensure dialogue with all stakeholders to achieve reconciliation. This came hours after UN rights body accused its troops of horrific abuses during the last phase of the civil war with the LTTE. The United Nations on Wednesday called for a special court to try war crimes committed in Sri Lanka.
In a significant observation, the United Nations has accused both the Sri Lankan government and the Tamil Tiger rebels of committing war crimes during their 9-year conflict. A special court with international judges will now prosecute both sides.
One of the most significant recommendations contained in the report is the proposed establishment of a hybrid special court, integrating international judges, prosecutors, lawyers, and investigators.
Despite assurances by the new government under Maithripala Sirisena, the UN report notes that the National Criminal Justice alone could not carry out the huge task of examining the alleged crimes. Human rights activists have welcomed the decision, even though the Lankan government insists on a domestic inquiry. A similar commission set up by the previous government had lacked credibility.
The new political context in Sri Lanka is encouraging, and I believe the international community should remain engaged and support and accompany this process. Sri Lanka must also begin to dismantle the repressive structures and culture that remain deeply entrenched.
There are concrete recommendations in terms of what needs to be done. I think we may well have to look at that very seriously, because there is a question here about independence, and there's also the question here about competence.
Stressing on the systemic weaknesses, the UN now wants the government to bring in fundamental reforms to the security sector and judicial system. It also called on Colombo to remove any officials from the military and security forces who they believe were involved in human rights violations. The report estimates that some 40,000 Tamils lost their lives in the final stages of the conflict. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Moving on to some sports news now, India's top shuttler PV Sindhu and Ajay Jairam advanced to the second round of the Korean Open Super Series badminton tournament in Seoul. Two-time bronze medalist at the World Championship, Sindhu eked out a 21-19, 21-23, 21-13 win over the former world champion Thailand's Ratchanok Intonin in the women's singles match that lasted 1 hour and 9 minutes. She will next face Japan's Sayaka Takahashi in round 2. While Ajay Jairam will be competing against Hong Kong's Wong Wing Ki to secure a place in the quarterfinals. Earlier, Parupalli Kashyap suffered a defeat in the opening round. 8th-seeded Kashyap lost 21-17, 16-21, 18-21 to Hong Kong's Wei Nan. In the women's doubles, the pair of Nelakurihi Sikki Reddy and Pradanya Gadre were also knocked out in the first round. And before we wrap the bulletin, today is Ganesh Chaturthi and we leave you with these breathtaking visuals of celebrations. Happy Ganesh Chaturthi to all our viewers.
गणराज विद्या सुखदाता धन्य तुम्हारो दर्शन मेरा मन रमता।